Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea. It's an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, my international friends, joining me as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news and all sorts of good things. And joining me here today is Miss Ashley Whalen. Ashley, how you doing?
Hello out there. I'm doing great, thank you. Happy hump day. It is Wednesday, everybody. Ready for some movie news.
And, of course, Robert is not here today. I got a desperate... I didn't realize he wasn't going to be here till about an hour ago when I checked my email. And he's like, at like 1:30 in the morning, he's like, I totally forgot I got jury duty or something like that. So Rob's not here today, but he will be back again tomorrow. Don't forget to join us then. And it's a big day today, Ashley. My hair is different than it's ever been. A little known fact for a lot of people. I have never had good hair in my life, except for when I was in like my band playing days and I had like hair down to here.
What? I want a photo of that.
No, I really did. I had like
does.
hair
Yes.
down to here. I used to rock the long hair, and I have never liked my hair since. So I was complaining to my wife this morning. I was complaining. I was like, I just always hate my hair and blah, blah, blah. And she goes, let me do your hair today. I'm like, all right. So Anne did my hair today. I sat down on a little bench and just let her take the hairdryer and the brush to my hair. So,
Oh, she like blew it out?
yeah, she hair dried and brushed. And I said, okay, when your wife does your hair, ladies and gentlemen, you keep that hair for the day and you see how it all goes. But yeah, I've never liked my hair. All right, listen, guys, we got a whole bunch of fun stuff we're going to talk about here today. Great list of stuff also in our movie news feed. Stick around for that. But I want to let you guys know there are a couple things off the top here that we need to talk about. And the first thing we're going to talk about is this. Of course, there is a new It Chapter 2 movie coming in just a few months. It's just a few months away. Some people have been asking recently, John, where's the trailer? Where's the trailer? Well, now we know when the trailer's coming. Actually, more than that. Stephen King himself has now watched the movie, and apparently he loves it, and he's also announced when a new trailer's coming. This is what Stephen King had to say on his Twitter. He said, looking forward to It Chapter 2? You should be. I've seen it, and it's terrific. The trailer is coming Thursday at noon. You'll float. So, of course, there you go. He's got a little float stuff in there as well. This is going to put a lot of people's minds at ease because, again, I've started to be getting messages from people about, oh, my God, it's 4 months out. Where's the trailer? Where's the trailer? And I keep telling people, guys, it's 4 months away. We don't need to have a trailer for something this fast, but now we do know when it's coming. And people are going to be excited about it. And people are going to be especially excited hearing that Stephen King gives it his seal of approval. Now, listen, that first It film caught a lot of us totally by surprise. I mean, the trailers look good, but I mean, let's be honest. I didn't really think the original miniseries was great. I mean, it has certain place for certain people on certain levels at different times, I'm sure. But it's never been like the highlight for me. But this movie found a way to strike a great balance of being terrifying, being creepy, and yet at the same time being endearing, and yet at the same time having a good amount of humor in it along the way. And it just made for a really great overall entertaining package. And now with the cast that they've got, and by the way, guys, when Rob and I were at CinemaCon in Las Vegas a few weeks ago, they showed us like this 7-minute clip, 5, 6, 7-minute clip of the movie, of a scene from the movie that just drove everybody crazy. Just drove everybody crazy. I'm not even going to say what was going on, except she might be in the clip. And that's all I'm going to say right now. And it was awesome. Now we're going to get this trailer, and we should all be pretty excited about it. But Ashley, let me ask you, did you ever get a chance to get around to seeing it when it was in theaters?
I did. Yeah, I loved it. It was super creepy. I can't wait to see this one. I feel like it's going to be part of my Scary Sundays thing with my ladies. So we're all going to go. Yeah.
Your Scary
and I
Sundays.
love Jessica Chastain. I mean, if you guys haven't seen Molly's Game, she kills it in that movie.
I don't know why that didn't get more Oscar love.
I know. It was amazing. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
good.
so
And it was the directorial debut of, one of the greatest screenwriters of our time, the guy who did West Wing. Yeah, Aaron Sorkin directed it. He did fabulous. She was great in it. It was just so good. But anyway, this is a great cast across the board, and everybody should be pretty excited about it at this point. All right. Another thing to get to off the top here is this. We've known for some time that CW was looking at possibly doing a Batwoman television show. They even brought her into the big crossover this past year, kind of to test the waters with everybody. They were going to put together a pilot, pitch it to CW, see how it all went. Well, apparently now It's official. The Batwoman show has been ordered to series by the CW. There's a couple of others as well that have been picked up along the way, but the big highlight one here is the Batwoman series. Now, before we get into talking about the Batwoman series, a couple of shows that they were looking at picking up that they've changed their minds on and that they're not going to do now. Apparently, there was a Jane the Virgin spinoff called Jane the Novella. That was something they were going to do. They scrapped it. And then, of course, we've talked for a while about how CW is looking at doing a Lost Boys series. Done. They threw it out. Now, apparently, they're still interested in it, but they're going to look for a new pilot and a new cast and a new take on the thing. So no Lost Boys is coming, no Jane the Virgin spinoff, but there are a few others. But the Batwoman thing is interesting. I actually liked Ruby Rose as Batwoman in that CW crossover event. I thought she came across great. The action looked good. I like the whole background they're setting up to it. I guess she's Bruce Wayne's cousin. She's making her headquarters, and now Bruce Wayne has vanished from Gotham. He's been gone for a while. Nobody knows where he is. She's now kind of made Wayne Enterprises building her headquarters. It's a cool setup. And I'll tell you this, I'm all on board for this. I am. My one thing that I need to beg and demand from CW is this. Don't put Batwoman over by making a great character. Put Batwoman over with the audience by giving us great action, great stories, great character development, and just making her character great like you do with so many of the other CW characters. That's how you put your character over. Please, for the love of God, do not do what you've done with that Supergirl show. Don't get so desperate to put her over that the only way you can put her over is by having her like completely putting down Superman. Like, because that's the thing that's always driven me crazy about that Supergirl show. Every episode they have Superman in, they have to show how he's not all that great. Oh, no, Supergirl, you are Earth's hero. Oh, the Earth doesn't need me. They've got you. I can go and leave now because they don't need me, blah, blah. And constantly just jobbing Superman. That's always driven me crazy. You've got a great idea for a character here. She's going to be the first CW lead character of a show that's gay or lesbian, which is a new thing for them, which is great. You've got a good background. You got a solid mythology. Build her on that and put her over that way. My God, do not start getting into the show about how, Batman's not all that great. Don't do that like you did it with the Superman character in Supergirl, please. But if you do that, and you just build on her and the mythology that's there, I think they got the makings for a pretty good show. I would make some changes to the costume myself.
I was about to say, speaking of hair today, what's going on with that? Like, I do not know how I feel about that. Is she supposed to fight crime? She's going to get it yanked out of her head.
I know. The interesting thing is the hair's not even hers.
Okay.
So when you see her character out of the Batwoman costume, she's got short hair.
What?
So the hair is a part of the secret identity.
Oh, God. No,
so
I don't like it.
I'll tell you what, I'm not big on the hair myself, but I like the idea of changing the character's hair when she's in character.
Yeah.
Because that would throw you off. I mean, it's certainly better than Superman's glasses. I mean, as a disguise, right? But yes, I agree. I would probably change that costume a little bit. But other than that, I'm all for it. I think you got some possibility here for something really good. Potential here for something really bad and cheesy, yes, but also I think it's got some pretty good upside here. So Let's see how that all works out. All right, guys, with that down out of the way, let's move on to our main topics today. How do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really rather simple. You see, you guys select them by sending me your topics and questions anytime, 24/7, by going to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you're there, fill out the form there, hit submit, and maybe, just maybe, you might see your topic or question featured here on the John Campea Show. With that down out of the way, Ashley, what is our first topic today?
Okay, guys, the first one today is from Josh Rosen. With all the Disney Fox dates released, I noticed Avatar 2 was delayed again. I get taking your time, but this is the third or fourth delay. Why not wait to announce it until they're ready? Also, you talk about wanting directors to move on to new projects. If Cameron really does all these Avatar movies, he'll have spent his directing career since Titanic over 30 years in Avatar. Want it to be worth it, just frustrated to hear. Thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's the thing about Avatar and all this kind of stuff. This has been something that is becoming a running joke in this business. Because let me take you back to a little news article, a headline in 2017 in the USA Today. This headline in 2017, James Cameron announces Avatar 2, another delay. It won't come out in its announced date of 2018. Well, now here we are. We're talking about 2020. Now it's going to be 2021. This is becoming a running gag in Hollywood of this. First of all, an Avatar sequel should have came out well before 2018. I mean, we're talking at that point, it was a number of years out already. They had already waited too long. Then they suggested 2019. Then it said, no, our date is 2020. And now the date is December of 2021. Now, it's not just those ones either. There are a few others. For instance, Avatar 3 was supposed to come out in 2021. It's now going to come out in 2023. Avatar 4 will come out in 2025. And Avatar 5, yes, that's right, Avatar 5 is scheduled to come out in 2027. So when this thing comes out, it's going to be 12 years. When the first one comes out, it will be 12 years since they announced the original Avatar, or since the original Avatar came out, I should say. That's a little bit of a wait. And I think every year they wait, it's diminishing a little bit. Now, I'm not suggesting here that it is absolutely far too late. I'm not suggesting here that by the time Avatar comes out in 2021, nobody's going to watch it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying as each year passes, though, I think the heat behind it is diminishing a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. This thing should have come out in 2018. It should have come out this year. It should come out in 2020. Now, there's obviously some reasoning behind it. I understand releasing with the Star Wars schedule, and we'll get to the Star Wars schedule in just a second. So crazy. So now we're not getting Avatar 2 until 21, then every other year after that until we finally finish up with Avatar 5. As far as Cameron spending all his time on this, that is an interesting point you raise, because it has been now forever that he's just been living in this Avatar universe, whether it's behind the scenes trying to perfect some kind of new technology that he may want to use for the upcoming movies, which is cool, which is great if he's doing that. Also, writing and rewriting some more, the scripts, fine. Getting everything together, fine. And I understand wanting to use the December release date, and there's only so many December release dates, but pushing it off another year, I don't know. Look, is this tragic for Avatar? I don't think it's tragic. But is it a mistake? Yeah, I think it's a mistake. It's not a fatal mistake. This doesn't kill Avatar, but I do think pushing this property, which originally came out in 2009, off yet another year, another full year, I understand there's some upside to it, but overall, I think this is a mistake. And again, it's not going to kill it. Don't start saying John Campea says Avatar is going to be a failure now, because no, I'm not saying that. But in the realm of was this a good idea or a bad idea, I got to say I think it's a bad idea, because I'll tell you what, listen, the more I talk to people over the years, the interest I'm gauging from people, from average film fans, seems to be dropping bit by bit every year, right? So actually, I know, like, you have friends, you have movie-loving friends and all that kind of stuff. What have you been sensing that same thing, or have you been sensing that, no, the kind of enthusiasm for an Avatar property has stayed the same?
No, definitely dropped. I mean, I don't even hear anybody even talking about Avatar anymore. The first one came out 10 years ago, and it was such an original, and everyone was buzzing about it. So I'm wondering, do we even know, is there going to definitely be like some new technology with Avatar 2? Because I feel like with a 10-year gap, it has to be, I don't know, enhanced in some way, or else I feel like audiences are going to be a little disappointed.
At this point, I'm wondering, what kind of new technology can you do?
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing at this point that I think would be a really big revolutionary thing, and this is what I've been waiting for. I'm not a fan of 3D at all. I'll avoid 3D at all costs. If there's no other option, I'll watch something in 3D if I must. But the one revolution in 3D that would catch my attention, and maybe James Cameron's the guy to get it done, is 3D without glasses. Mm-hmm. If they somehow crack that code,
would be nuts. Yeah.
And could give us 3D without glasses on screen. And I'll tell you what, if 2021 comes around and we find out Avatar 2 is going to be the first major motion picture 3D without glasses, we could see Avatar 2009 all over again. Mm-hmm. We could see the interest of everybody bubble rush, because even I, who hate 3D, I'll be there, and I'll want to see that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all kind of pans itself out. Okay, with that down and out of the way, let's move on to the next topics. What's our second issue today?
Next one is Greg Monsaf. We knew that Star Wars was going to be slowing down from the 1 to 2 movies per year pace they've been on lately, but I wasn't expecting this, a 3-year break. Why? So the Disney statement says that we're not getting another Star Wars movie until 2022, then not until 2024, and then 2026. We know they're working on 2 separate trilogies. Does that mean it's going to take us 12 years to get through them? Isn't this a little bit of an overreaction on Disney's part?
I think overreaction is probably a really good phrase for that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now listen, we recently heard them talking about the fact that Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger said, okay, we're going to slow down. We're not going to do 2 films a year because they still are pitching this BS that the problem with Solo was that we tried to do 2 films in the same year. We tried to do 2 films within a year. And we just realized, the audience doesn't want 2 films a year. That's BS. I've said this a million times. From the day one that they announced Solo, I said nobody has asked for a Han Solo movie with a Harrison Ford-less Solo just when we had Harrison Ford on screen in The Force Awakens as Han Solo. I said it from the beginning. I said no one's asked for this movie, and you're going to see it. And sure enough, we did. It's not that the audience can't handle more than 1 Star Wars movie a year. It's like, audiences can't take more than 1 movie in a franchise a year. Meanwhile, Kevin Feige is sipping his tea going, excuse me? Seriously, it's a ridiculous notion, but I don't mind the idea of pumping the brakes a little bit and going back to like a 1 film a year sort of a plan. But going to a 1 film every 2 years plan, yeah, that seems to me to be a little bit of an overreaction. Now, just for those of you who just missed it in the question, here are the specific dates that's now been announced. After Star Wars Episode 9, these are when the next 3 Star Wars movies are coming out. We got the first one coming out December 16th, 2022, then December 20th, 2024, then December 18th, 2026. Now, you'll notice in relation to the Avatar topic, this is dodging in and out with the Avatar years because we got Avatar in 21, in 23, in 25, and in 27. Then all the other years, we've got 22, 24, and 26. We're going to get Star Wars years. Look, I get it. The December release date's a big release date. But again, 1 film every 2 years seems to me like a severe overreaction and raises this question as well. We've got 2 trilogies in the works. Rian Johnson's that they've been talking even recently about a lot. And then we've got the Game of Thrones guys, Benioff and Weiss, got theirs. So what is 22, 24, and 26? Is that 1 trilogy? And then we got to wait 6 years for the next trilogy to start? Or are you going to be bobbing them in and out? Are you going to do part 1 of Rian Johnson's trilogy in 2022, part 1 of Benioff and Weiss's trilogy in 2024, and then part 2 of how are you going to do that? And did you really just bring on Benioff and Weiss to sit around for 6 years? Are we going to get another Matt Reeves with the Batman situation here? So look, I'm excited for new Star Wars. I'm excited that they've announced dates. But I do feel like this 1 every 2 years thing is a massive overreaction to something that wasn't the issue in the first place. And that to me is unfortunate. Now, as Star Wars fans, we're used to seeing a movie and then maybe having to wait 12 years for another one. So it's not that big of a deal to us. But again, I don't see, especially if you got 2 trilogies in the works, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't go to a 1 movie per year release schedule. And I understand you want to put Avatar out in December. Well, then put the Star Wars movie out in a summer release. I mean, hell, we just saw Endgame is probably going to become the #1 box office film of all time with an April release, right? So there are other months of the year to release this thing with. Again, this isn't going to kill Star Wars. It's nothing like that. I just think, again, it is a massive overreaction to something that wasn't the issue in the first place. So I'm excited to see these things. It'll be interesting to hear what those 3 movies are going to be. Are they going to be 1 trilogy followed by another? Are they going to start interweaving the different trilogies? We'll find out soon enough. All right, with that out of the way, what is our third topic today?
But John, December is my birthday month, so that is what they are.
Wow, you're going to have a lot to celebrate every year.
I know,
Star
exactly.
Wars movies, Avatar movies, good for you.
Adam Shaw, I guess we can pour one out for Shannon Tatum and Gambit. In the big release they put out showing off their upcoming films over the next few years, there was no mention of Gambit. I suppose that means the film is officially dead now. I will admit I was starting to warm up to the idea of it. So what do you say? Was killing Gambit the right move?
Yeah, in the midst of all this, and all these stories have been coming from this one big press release that Disney put out announcing their upcoming release schedule over the next number of years. And, they're talking this movie and that movie, Star Wars and Avatar, Toy Stories and Pixar, and all these sorts, and all the different Fox properties and everything. And glaring by its absence was, of course, Channing Tatum's Gambit. Now, we've known for a while that the Gambit project was in trouble. We knew it had a release date, it got pulled, but they still talked about that perhaps, as a matter of fact, just a number of weeks ago, director of X-Men Dark Phoenix and a guy who's been a producer on a lot of the X-Men films, Simon Kinberg, was just recently on a red carpet. And we talked about this during one of our shows. And he was asked about Gambit on the red carpet, and he said this: all of the movies at Fox are being evaluated. I love the idea of Channing playing Gambit. I think we have a great script for it, and I think it's a role he was born to play. It's a character I grew up loving, and I know the fans love, so I hope it will happen. He said, I suspect it will happen, which kind of triggered a new little bit amount of enthusiasm and hope and possibility that maybe this thing's going to come about. Maybe this thing will happen. And listen, I'm with you. The idea of Gambit being played by Channing Tatum was an idea that eventually kind of grew on me. Because I have said before, I used to say all the time back in the day, I thought Channing Tatum was the worst actor in Hollywood consistently getting work. I thought out of all the actors in Hollywood getting consistent work, I thought he was the absolute worst. But over time, he has worked and worked and worked and worked and worked his ass off and worked his ass off. And I've seen him get better and better and better and better to the point that I now actually get really interested when I'm hearing Channing Tatum's in a film. And hell, I think he would have been a good Gambit. Damn it. I don't care what anybody else says. I think he would have been a good Gambit. Would he have been my first choice? Probably not. Probably not yours either. But I think he would have done a good job. And I think he could have been pretty good at it. Hell, they even walked him out on stage at Comic-Con. Say, here's our Gambit, right? So I think this is kind of unfortunate. Now, it should be noted that just because he's not listed, that this movie isn't listed in the upcoming slate, that doesn't 100% mean that he's done and that he's gone. I mean, there's a possibility here that they could make an announcement. Oh, no, Gambit is back on the schedule. That could happen, I suppose. But right now, it kind of looks like it's done. Now, Ashley, let me ask you. I know you're probably not, somebody who's followed the exploits of the character Gambit over the years.
What?
But what would you think about Channing Tatum popping up in one of these superhero films? Or do you think that's a miss? Because there's a lot of people out there who don't think he would do well in like a superhero type of movie.
I wonder
but what
why.
do you think?
Yeah, no, I wonder why that is, because he's successful as like a cop, so he can play a tough guy, but he's got a great hold of comedy. So I feel like
he's so good in comedy.
Would be perfect for a superhero, especially right now. There's so many comedic. I mean, you have to have like the hero type that is also comedic. Everyone loves Thor, Shazam. I think he would fit right into that. So I would actually really like to see him, and I feel like a lot of people, it'd be a big draw for people that wouldn't necessarily even know Gambit.
Yeah, and the other thing too is with his dance background and his physicality, he can pull off. I'm sure he could pull off great action. I mean, I'm not saying turn Gambit into Magic Mike, but when you can do the things he can do, you can make action look good. Now, I'm not saying turn Gambit into Jim Cotta 2, but I think it could have been pretty good, actually. Oh, well, I'm going to pour one out for Gambit. Again, it's not 100% luck that's not happening, but it pretty much looks like it's done at this point. And I just think it's a shame because I think it could have been okay. All right. With that down, what's our next topic today?
Next one is from Blue Jay. Hey, John and crew. Well, here we go again. New Mutants has once again moved their release date from August 2nd to April 3rd, 2020 by Disney. Oh my God, this is the third time this movie gets another release date change, and I still want to see this movie. Do you think people would ever still be interested at all in this movie? It's crazy because the trailer was uploaded since 2017. Thoughts, and bring on the filthy.
I mean, at this point, are we even going to pretend to be surprised anymore at this point? I mean, in the short life of New Mutants, this thing has gone from a lot of anticipation to being probably the number one running gag in Hollywood right now, which is really too bad because I loved that first trailer when it came out in 2017. Let's just retrace our steps here, shall we, on the adventures of New Mutants. Now, remember, This is, again, all a part of that Disney release about this thing coming out. They've now announced a new release date, and it's pushed off again. Let's follow the path here, shall we, for New Mutants. In October 2017, the first trailer drops, announcing the release date of April 13th. They dropped this trailer announcing this movie's coming out in 6 months. 6 months. That means they're practically done. This movie's coming out in 6 months. That was October of 2017. Original release date of April 13th in 2018. Then the first time happens. They announce that the release date has been bumped. It's now going to come out February 22nd, 2019. I don't know if you have a calendar in front of you, folks, but we're already past February 22nd, 2019. So then came out, okay, we're taking it off the release schedule. Now it's going to be released on August 2nd, 2019. Well, we're in 2019 now. We've seen nothing and heard nothing about it. Then we find out that it's been pulled from the release schedule for August 2019. Then the speculation begins. Is this thing going to get released at all? Is Disney maybe going to put this thing on a Hulu? Now, at CinemaCon, they did mention New Mutants, which kind of made people think, okay, so they're still going to release it, but now they've got another new release date, this time all the way April 3rd, 2020, 2 years after its original release date. 2 years after its original release date, and 2.5 years since they released the trailer for the movie. This is something of a running gag at this point. Now, look, one of the things I understand is that you're now Disney, you have Fox, you have all these titles, and you got to make room and get this thing out somewhere. You got to find space in a release schedule. I get it. Also, we've heard that they still have to do a lot of reshoots on this. I get that as well. But I'm thinking if you're Disney with the resources that you have, and this isn't a super expensive movie. This is not a high, super intense visual effects blockbuster movie. This is a lower budget horror kind of comic book mixed genre film, which I thought was a great idea to try, and they kept the budget fairly low. Now waiting to 2020, I mean, at this point, I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of taking the same approach with this movie as I am with Matt Reeves' Batman. I'll believe it when I see it. Like when when you're actually 1 day away from the movie opening, I'll believe it when I see the name of the movie go up on the marquee and say, Showtime starts now. That's when I'll believe it. At this point, I just don't know what I'm going to believe. These characters are now going to be 4 years older than they were when they shot the movie.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, think about that for a second. We're going to see pictures from the red carpet, Ashley, of these characters, of these actors, and we're not going to recognize some of them.
That's immediately where my mind went. I was like, I want to pour one out for these actors. I mean, if you do something 4 years before in 2016 and it comes out in 2020, maybe, then, and they have to do reshoots. I mean, you're not even going to look the same. They're going to have to try to cut their hair the same and use maybe they'll have to use technology. Who knows? And I don't know if they used any 12-year-olds, but hopefully not, because those kids will be 16.
Well, I think Maisie Williams she's now 22.
Yeah, how are they going to reshoot with her? She looks completely different.
She was 18 when she shot her stuff. She's 22 now.
Right.
So they're going to have to do some kind of wizarding work, because it's fine. Look, if somebody was 34 and now they're 38, they can look exactly the same. If somebody was 49 and now they're 53, they can look exactly the same. But you're going from 16, 17, 18 to 20, 21, and 22. There are physical changes that happen, and they're going to have to do some work on this just to make them look right. I don't know. I mean, look, it's great that Disney is giving it a stamp of approval and saying, we as Disney are giving this a release date, and they set a date. But even though it's under Disney's banner now, I've got to admit, I'm kind of in the same boat as I was. I'm in I'll believe it when I see it kind of a thing, because God, I mean, they're going to be doing reshoots. Probably they might get into 2020 when they do them, but they shot a lot of this film in 2016. They're going to be 3.5 years older. Some of them may be 4 years older, depending on when they shot the earliest stuff, than they were when they originally started shooting this film. It's crazy. Yeah. It's what a disaster.
That'd be frustrating. Right. Yeah.
Let's go on now to the final topic today. What's our final main topic?
Last one is from William Lee. All due respect to Endgame, but the movie I've been most excited for is John Wick 3. Gotta admit, though, I'm a little nervous for Mr. Wick. Endgame is still rolling strong. Detective Pikachu is going to be in theaters starting the week before, and Aladdin comes out the week after. Any chance John Wick 3 survives to be successful? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
You know what? You're not alone, man. I mean, There's not a lot of you that are looking forward more to John Wick 3 than to Endgame, but there's a lot of people very excited about John Wick Chapter 3. I believe the marketing for this has been the best they've done out of the franchise. These trailers have all been exciting, fantastic, and promising exactly what we've been hoping for. Look, none of us are going into John Wick looking for Shakespeare. We go into John Wick looking for gun fu. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for, Keanu Reeves executing gun fu, killing a bunch of fools and all this kind of stuff. That's what we're going for. And we want to see some dogs in some stuff along the way as well. This movie franchise has done wonders for the dog owning world. It's amazing. Now, you're asking a fair question. Can a John Wick survive? Now, because not only do we got Endgame, but we got Detective Pikachu opening this weekend, which is 1 week before John Wick. And right after John Wick comes Aladdin. And there's a few other smaller films opening in that same time period, and Endgame's still going to be in theater, eating up a lot of box office. Can it survive? In answering that question, though, we got to keep something in mind. John Wick is a very low budget, for big Hollywood standards, a very low budget film franchise. And they've never had to make a lot of money to survive and get by. Let's go back, because I think when a lot of us think of John Wick, we think it's a big blockbuster franchise. Here's the reality. John Wick Chapter 1 only had an opening weekend of $14 million. And it only went on to make $88 million worldwide. But people loved it. It made enough money because it was a really inexpensive film to make. So it justified a sequel. They spent $40 million making the sequel. That's not a typo. The budget on John Wick Chapter 2 was $40 million. Unlike an Avengers Endgame, which was $356 million, this had a $40 million budget. How did it do? Opened to $30 million, still really small by a lot of blockbuster standards. Went on to make significantly more than the first one, but made almost double at $171 million worldwide. Not great for a comic book movie, not great for a Star Wars movie, disastrous for a comic book or Star Wars movie, but for a John Wick film, perfectly fine at a $40 million budget. They were able to make profit on that damn thing, which is great. And people enjoyed it. The whole reputation of the John Wick franchise grew even more, and now we're coming into John Wick Chapter 3. So really we're asking the question here, can John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, understanding how popular the franchise is right now, how good the marketing campaign has been, to be successful for it, I'm thinking it just needs to look at like a $30 to $40 million opening weekend and maybe come in around the 200 million mark. Because if they do that, again, by comic book movie standards or Star Wars standards or James Bond standards, that's a disaster. But not for John Wick, because they make these movies financially responsible. They don't spend $180 million making these movies. They don't have to make $450 million at the box office just to break even. They just got to do a little bit. And do I think John Wick, even in the midst of something like Endgame still being in theaters, even in the midst of something like Detective Pikachu coming out the week before, even in the midst of an Aladdin coming out the week after, even in the midst of a bunch of smaller films opening at the same time, do I believe John Wick Chapter 3 can make 30 to 40 opening weekend? Yeah, I believe it can. Do I believe it can make 180 to 200 million worldwide? Yes, and it could even go well north of that, depending how good or bad the movie is. Now, I haven't seen the movie yet myself. I'm going to wait for opening day and see it like everybody else. But can it hit those numbers? Hell yes. Yes, it can. If you're asking the question, can it be successful, as in can it be a $150 million opening and can it make 400 million worldwide? Maybe not. But we need to redefine success when it comes to a movie that's made for this inexpensive of a price tag. And when you look at the history of the franchise, it can do it. So yes, I'm going to sit here right now and say John Wick Chapter 3 will be successful. It will succeed. It'll make money for the studio. It'll be profitable. It'll be in the range of or above the previous John Wick films. And then we'll probably get to look forward to John Wick Chapter 4, because I'm just going to go out on a limb and guess there's going to be a Chapter 4. So yeah, I think it's going to be successful, as a matter of fact. All right, guys, with that down and out of the way, we are now going to move on to live questions. But before we get to our live questions, there's a lot of other stuff going on in the world of entertainment that we don't necessarily have time to make one of our main topics here. But we want to make sure you're caught up to date with everything going on. And so Fact Checker Jonathan proudly presents to you right now today's installment of the Movie News Feed. Check it out.
First up, Sylvester Stallone is in the planning stage to remake the South Korean film The Gangster, the Cop, the Devil, which will include the original star Ma Dong-suk, who also appeared in Train to Busan. From Slash Film, in the original film, a gangster and a cop team up to catch a serial killer. Stallone's Balboa Productions is producing the remake. There's no word if Stallone will also appear in the film. The Train to Busan actor is primed to break into Hollywood. Not only does he have this role, he's also in talks to join Marvel's The Eternals. Next up, fresh from playing the African warrior king Black Panther in Avengers Endgame, Chadwick Boseman has officially aligned himself to play Yasuk, the first African samurai to swing a sword in Japan. From Deadline, Yasuk was a native of Portuguese Mozambique who was brought to Japan as a slave to Jesuit missionaries. The first black man to set foot on Japanese soil, Yasuk's arrival aroused the interests of Nobunaga, a ruthless warlord seeking to unite the fractured country under his banner. A complex relationship developed between the two men as Yasuk earned Nobunaga's friendship, respect, and ultimately the honor, swords, and title of samurai. Writer Doug Miro of Netflix's Narcos is handling the script. Next up, if you're a fan of the Jermaine Clement, Taika Waititi, and Paul Sims' What We Do in the Shadows vampire mockumentary series, there's good news, as Vulture.com is reporting FX has renewed the series for a second season. FX exec Nick Grad had this to say about the series renewal. Jermaine Clement, Taika Waititi, and Paul Sims have more than delivered on the high expectations of Shadows fans by adapting the cult classic for television and building a passionate base of new and returning fans. The current season of the movie-turned-TV show still has 4 more episodes left to go. The second season will premiere on FX sometime in 2020. Next up, best known for his role as Robb Stark on Game of Thrones, Richard Madden's star began to rise again last year when his Netflix series Bodyguard became a huge hit, earning him a Golden Globe. Now Variety reports Madden is in talks to join Marvel's The Eternals. Angelina Jolie and Kumail Nanjiani are also on board. Created by Jack Kirby in 1976, the comic book is set millions of years in the past, when the cosmic beings known as the Celestials genetically experimented on humans to create superpowered individuals known as the Eternals, along with the villainous Deviants. The two groups battled each other throughout history. The Eternals also warred with Greek, Roman, and Norse deities before leaving Earth to explore the stars. Next up, nearly 2 weeks before The Secret Life of Pets 2 June 7th U.S. theatrical release date, fans and members of Fandango VIP, Fandango's free-to-join rewards program, can get a first look at the film at select theaters. Fandango is teaming up with Universal Pictures and Illumination Entertainment to offer exclusive advanced screenings on May 25th. Tickets for this limited engagement, as well as the June 7th wide release, are now on sale at Fandango. Next up, filming is currently underway for Jumanji 3. The film stars returning actors Dwayne Johnson, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, and Nick Jonas. Now, from Geeks Worldwide, it is being reported that Colin Hanks will be reprising his role as well. He played the grown-up version of Alex, a teen who had been stuck in the Jumanji game for decades. Additionally, the group of teenagers are reprising their roles: Darius Blaine, Alex Wolff, Madison Eisman, and Morgan Turner. Rhys Darby will also be coming back to portray the player's guide Nigel. Franchise newcomers include Awkwafina, Danny DeVito, Danny Glover, and Dania Ramirez. Jake Kasdan, who directed 2017's Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, will return to helm the sequel. Sony Pictures will release the film on December 13th. And finally, fans of FX's Legion have one more season of the show to enjoy, and the trailer for the new season has just dropped. Noah Hawley does not disappoint as his trippy, hallucinatory exploration of the inner workings of a mutant's mind seems to crescendo. The show continues to look like one of the strangest programs on TV. The series stars Dan Stevens, Rachel Keller, and Bill Irwin. Legion Season 3 premieres Monday, June 24th on FX. And that will do it for today's installment of the Movie News Feed.
And I'm just kidding. Not the same thing as happened yesterday. I just wanted to pull you guys. Of course, on yesterday's show, we had a system freeze after the movie news feed ended. So I was just teasing you guys a little bit, just trolling you a little bit. Don't worry, we're back. We're still here. Okay, it's now time for us to move on to the live questions, guys. And I just want to see, I got some of you guys in the chat board. You actually, I caught you. Okay, let's move on now to the movie news feed. Ashley, or not movie news feed, that was the movie news feed. Let's move on to the live questions here. Okay, Ashley, what do we got?
All right, first one today is from Zombatron 5678. How long do you think Thor took to find Asgard? Do you think right after Infinity War, or do you think he waited the 20-plus days afterwards, or did he forget?
I don't think he had, by Asgard, I think you probably mean the Asgardians. I don't think he waited at all. Remember, he had already decided that they were going to go to Earth. So I think when Korg and Valkyrie escaped from the Thanos attack, they then just eventually brought everybody to Earth. So I don't think Thor had to go out and find them. I think they came to Earth. All right, what's next?
Raven, today's word is vitiate, verb to make faulty or defective. John vitiated the show yesterday before I could compliment Ashley's beauty.
I vitiated nothing. It was these technical problems happen. Give me a break. All right, what's next?
Kyle Starr, Tony will be Spider-Man's new Friday moving forward.
I don't think so. I don't think they're going to be able to get, it would be interesting if they were able to get Robert Downey Jr., because all he would have to do is come into an audio recording studio for half a day. All he would have to do is go in for half a day to read some dialogue and then be put in, but I pretty much doubt. It would be cool if they do. I'm all for it, but I don't think that's what they're going to do. All right, what's next?
Alex Pitt, watched 2 eps of Lucifer, season 4 so far. It's so good.
I haven't watched it yet, but okay, so tonight, Ann and I, we're going to go see Les Mis at the Pantages Theater in Los Angeles. I'm very excited about that. That's at 8 o'clock. Ann gets home at 6, so we are... When she's going to get home at 6, I'm going to make dinner. I'm going to have dinner ready for when she gets home. We're going to watch the first episode of Lucifer. Then we'll have a debate about whether we should skip out on Les Mis and just stay home and binge Lucifer. But we're probably going to then just watch one episode, go to Les Mis. I am so excited. I cannot even believe how hyped I am for this. All right, what's next?
You got a good night ahead of you.
I do.
Raven, SC38 finally came out today. It's a fan-made reimaging of the Vader and Kenobi fight from A New Hope. It's pretty impressive. Check it out.
Yeah, there's a lot of fan-made stuff that never catches my attention, but I like Star Wars fan-made stuff. I do. I will check that out. Thanks for putting it on our radar, Raven. All right, what's next?
Jack Leo, 2 Marvel movies next year, Black Widow and Eternals.
Don't know. We know one is going to be Black Widow. That much we know. It looks like the odds-on favorite that the next will be Eternals. However, they've been developing and building Doctor Strange 2 and Black Panther 2 for a while. So it might be one of those two, but if I had to put $5 on it, I would guess the other one is going to be Eternals. All right, what's next?
Raven. So John busted out the Airwolf theme yesterday in the companion video. Now let's see if he can do the Chips theme music off the top of his head. LOL.
I don't know why I remember the Chips theme, but I do. It's that ba 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 ba. Yeah, I remember that. I don't know why I remember it, but I do. Eric Estrada, ladies and gentlemen. All right, what's next?
Tyler Van, what's your favorite Harry Potter book?
I have never read the Harry Potter books. Never probably will. What's next?
Me either. I just started the first one randomly, though, like 2 nights ago.
I do like the movies.
Yeah,
I like the movies, but I've never read the books.
Mm-hmm. Murray Wright, can the theaters play the new Spider-Man trailer because of spoilers? If yes, then it would be really awkward to play it in front of Endgame. LOL, people would run out.
That has honestly been one of the topics of discussion since it came out. It's like, okay, and I'm all for this trailer. I get it. That movie's coming out in 2 months. You've got to market it, and you got to start letting the audience know what the basic premise of the movie is. So I understand they released that trailer. But yeah, do you play this trailer in front of Endgame? Now, can they? Yes, they totally can if they want. But should they? That's a great question. I think maybe if I was there, and let's say I was taking my mom to go see Endgame, and she didn't know anything about what's happened in Endgame, and then they played that trailer, it might bother me a little bit, but it's a good question. Let me ask you this, Ashley. You saw the Endgame, you saw the Spider-Man trailer, You saw Endgame. If you hadn't seen Endgame yet, and it was week 3 or 4, and you hadn't seen it, and you go in a theater, and then they played that trailer, talking about the death of Tony Stark, and talking about how Tony Stark died, and all that kind of stuff, would that bother you as a fan?
Yes, I'd be so pissed. Are you kidding me? I'd be like, what are you guys doing? That would be so annoying and awful if they did that. I hope they don't do that anywhere. Don't do it anywhere.
I'm going to guess they'll probably avoid doing that, at least for a couple more weeks. Then after that, gloves are off, but I think they should probably wait a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Miggy B, between Captain Marvel, Endgame, and Spider-Man Far From Home, how are you going to keep up your spoiler-free discussion rule intact? I have so many questions but can't seem to find the words.
Yeah, look, generally speaking, my rule about spoilers has always been, and this is going back to my movie blog days, like back when I was doing the movie blog, and that's a long time ago, I had a spoiler warning that once a movie has finished its theatrical run and has been out on home video for at least a couple of weeks, then it should be open and fair game for film fans to openly discuss movies. And because if you didn't see the movie during its entire theatrical run and it's been available on home video for a few weeks and you still haven't seen it, then the reality is you're probably not all that interested in the film. And at some point, film fans got to be able to openly and safely discuss a movie. It is becoming more, and I've had that rule for about 10 years, but even I got to admit, with the way things work now, I might have to start reevaluating that rule. I'm not saying I'm going to, but it might have to reevaluate. Times have changed. Now marketing has changed. And social media is different now than it was just 10 years ago. And maybe you need to revisit it. Maybe you do. It's something I'm going to have to think about over the next little while. It's a great question, Miggy. All right, what's next?
KW Garrett 83, desperate measures with my Cinemia card dead and no AMC or Cinemark theater nearby. I signed up for Movie Pass again. Yes, I'm a terrible person.
No, KW, you're not a terrible person. You're right. Desperate times, desperate measures. Use it while you can, because I still don't expect them to be around long. Then again, I thought they would be dead by December. I thought Movie Pass would be dead and buried by December. They've lost over 90% of their subscribers, but maybe that's good for them, so they're losing less money now. But hey, man, you do what you got to do. You do what you got to do to survive as a film fan. If you got to get Movie Pass, then by all means, man, get Movie Pass.
And
all right, what's next?
They scare you when they cancel. They're like, you can't sign up for 8 more months or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like their rule. But I don't think anyone really tried except for
exactly.
KW. Jerome Smith, dude, WTF happened? Watched John Carter last night and it was damn good. It's on Netflix now. I want a sequel. Going to find it in 4K so I can buy it.
Listen, John Carter is one of the biggest cautionary tales about movie marketing gone wrong. John Carter, originally supposed to be called John Carter of Mars, and then they stupidly changed it to just John Carter to make it sound like a 1970s private eye movie. John Carter of Mars, that's what I'm going to call it, with Taylor Kitsch, who is great in it, by the way, is a wonderful, fun sci-fi movie. It's wonderful. I love John Carter of Mars. I love that movie. And nobody went to go see it because it was marketed so badly. Nothing about the trailers looked remotely interesting. I remember they flew a bunch of us out because they did the press junket. Instead of doing the press junket like they traditionally do in Los Angeles, they actually did the press junket in Arizona, just outside of Phoenix, at like this resort in the middle of the desert. And they flew us out there and stuff like that. And I wasn't even interested in this movie because the trailers sucked. They're just called John Carter. The posters didn't even look all that intriguing. But hey, you want us to go to Phoenix for a couple of days? Fine, I'll go. Took us out there, bust us out to this screening, saw the screening, and I fell in love with this movie. I know Robert's another guy who loves this movie. And nobody saw it because they didn't do anything to convince people to see it. And most people who've seen it are like, damn, that movie's good. I love this movie. It's pure sci-fi. It's just really great, fun, imaginative sci-fi with some cuteness, some laughs, some good action, some neat ideas along the way. I'm not sitting here telling you it's one of the greatest movies of all time, but it's a wonderful film. And follow Jerome's lead here. If you haven't seen it, check it out because it's a really, really good time. All right, what's next?
Dan M., have you had the chance to see Lucifer? If so, thoughts?
Nope, but I'm going to watch episode 1 tonight and then probably binge right until the John Campea Show tomorrow morning. So that's probably what's going to happen. All right, what's next?
Javier Ray's 405, over under 10%. Aladdin turns out to be a better movie than Lion King.
Ooh. 10's a low number. I'll take the over. Sure, I mean, look, the Lion King's going to be the better film, but if you're setting the line at 10%, I got to go over that. I'd say he's got a shot. I'd say he's got like a 20, 25% chance. So I'll take the over on that. Absolutely. And I love the director. I love Guy Ritchie. I think it's highly unlikely, but higher chance than 10%. What would you say, Ashley? Would you say over under 10% that Aladdin could actually end up being better than The Lion King?
I was going to say under.
Really? Even under that? Oh,
I
there we go.
I just think that Lion King will be better, but
It looks magnificent.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
2014, Gamora's New Boyfriend. My top 5 MCU films: 5, Captain America, The Winter Soldier; 4, Endgame; 3, Infinity War; 2, Guardians of the Galaxy; and 1, Thor: Ragnarok.
That's a nice list. And thank you, Gamora's New Boyfriend, for reminding me to let everybody know that today at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to be doing a live stream revealing my ranking of all 22 MCU films. So that's going to be at 3 p.m. today. The true one definitive. It doesn't matter what Kevin Feige thinks. It doesn't matter what Bob Iger thinks. The true, only, really 100% reliable ranking of course I'm being facetious. It's all subjective. But my listing ranking all 22 MCU films, that's going to be today at 3 o'clock. And that's a nice list, Gamora's Boyfriend. I appreciate that. All right, what's next?
Willow Yang, I hope that they finally get going on the reshoots for New Mutants. At this rate, they're going to have to use de-aging effects on the actors.
I know, we were just talking about that. Like, it's good. Like, depending on when they shoot, we're going to be close to them doing reshoots 4 years after they originally shot, and they were kids when they originally shot. They're going to have to do something about this. All right, what's next?
Javier Reyes, did you ever get to see Punisher Season 2?
I have not. I still haven't watched Punisher Season 2. And you know what's funny? Usually I'll watch an episode of something when I'm eating lunch. So I'll finish the show, do a bunch of stuff, and then go sit down and have lunch, and I'll put on one episode of something. I realized, I'm caught up on I don't watch a ton of shows, but I'm caught up on all my shows. I guess I got nothing to watch. And I totally forgot I should start watching Punisher Season 2 because I still haven't started watching that. All right, what's next?
Terrell Wise, Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Jar Jar Binks.
Don't even joke, Terrell. I get thee behind me. All right, what's next?
Murray Reich, I'm planning to go to a IPIC
IPIC.
IPIC NYC someday. I was wondering if there are any rules to keep in mind when going. What's the difference? Bet Premium and Premium Plus between Premium? And
honestly,
Plus?
I don't know. A few weeks ago I talked about this. I went to an IPIC theater here in Los Angeles, the one in Pasadena. I've never been to an IPIC theater before. It was a wonderful experience. For a not so good movie. I saw the new Pet Sematary, wasn't so good, but a wonderful, very enjoyable movie-going experience. I had a great time in it. I love the way they do things. Now, I've only been to the one theater, so I don't know if all iPics are like that. I've had some people tell me that they are, so I'll take their word on it. But as far as the intricacies of the differences and all that kind of stuff, I can't answer that because I've only gone once. But if you find out what the answers are, please by all means let me know because I had a really good time and I can't wait to go back and enjoy that again. It's expensive compared to other theaters, but it was really an enjoyable time. All right, what's next?
Yeah, someone else just recommended that to me. I gotta go and check it out.
Yeah, it's really great. It feels like a swanky underground club when you get there.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful.
Isaac, Bibi, Avatar, don't say it, Endgame on your left.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, that's a lot of memes going around with like Captain America and Falcon running and see Captain America with the word Endgame over his head and Falcon with the word Avatar on his head and saying, on your left, about to pass him. Of course, we're going to see it pass it eventually, but still, remember this, guys. Titanic has held the number one spot or Avatar, I should say, has held the number one spot for 10 years. For 10 years. Endgame won't do that. I don't know that any other film's ever going to hold the top spot for 10 years ever again. Titanic has been in the top 1 or top 2 spots for 22 years. That's nuts. It just got knocked out of the top 2 spots. First time in 22 years has been up there. It's an incredible accomplishment. So while we all celebrate the incredible feats that Endgame is pulling off right now, make sure you pay respect to those two movies. Holding those spots for that long is inconceivable and will probably never happen again. All right, what's next?
Raven, only a fool would bet against James Cameron, but I don't know anyone that is excited for more Avatar movies. Shrugs, whatever.
I mean, I got to tell you, that's the exact same thoughts I have. Mm-hmm. You got to be an idiot to doubt James Cameron. The filmmaker has held the number 1 and number 2 spots at the box office forever. I mean, he did True Lies, my all-time favorite action movie. Terminator. The guy just squats over and craps out gold. That's what James Cameron does. You'd be a fool to doubt him. Yeah, I get it. But as somebody who gets hundreds of messages from average film fans every day for years and years and years, I got to tell you, man, I don't sense a big, strong enthusiasm for Avatar. Granted, we haven't seen a trailer yet. I mean, that could all change once the first trailer comes out. So I agree with you. They've waited too long. I don't sense a lot of demand for it. But It's one thing to say that now. Let's say what we're saying once the movie actually gets closer. All right, what's next?
Isaac, BP. I'm going with BP. Over under 10%, Genie turns Aladdin into a Fresh Prince.
I have to believe, sadly so, they will do that visual gag. There's got to be a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air gag in there. I'm sure they'll do it. I don't think they should, but I feel pretty good that they're going to do it. I'll take over 10%. What about you, Ashley? You take the over-under on that?
The over on that.
Yeah,
definitely.
They're going to do it.
Yeah, I don't think they should, but I think they will.
Yeah, I agree.
Another semi-professional, one of two, Endgame spoiler ban lifted, right? John, I agree that multiverse kind of cheats death. However, with Loki and Gamora, both characters have lost development time, are back in 2012 versions, so Gamora isn't with Quill or even a Guardian, and Loki isn't reconciled with Thor. These are huge changes and breathe new life into the future of these franchises. What are your thoughts on rebirth arcs?
Yeah, I don't think it changes things all that much. I mean, Gamora's dead. No, Gamora's back. Loki's dead. No, Loki's back. But there is something interesting about a redo story, right? You could do something pretty interesting with that. Now remember, deep down with Loki, I've always believed, deep down, he's always loved Thor, but he's been incredibly resentful of him. I think when it came down, much like his relationship with Odin, really what comes down to it, Loki did everything that he did, particularly in the first Thor movie, because at the bottom line was for him, he wanted Odin's approval. He did all these stupid, vile, evil things ultimately because he loved his father. He wanted his father's love. He even risked his own father's life just so he could pretend to step in and save his life, right? It's something that makes Loki, I think, the best villain the MCU's ever done, notwithstanding Thanos, of course. But the depth to the Loki character has been great. And I think they always played that through as well. I think he loves Thor, even in the beginning. But I think that he hates that he loves Thor. He hates that. And he wants to hate Thor. And I think they've done such a great job making that a multi-dimensional relationship. If we get the opportunity to revisit something like that again, it could be interesting. So, yeah, the reset button on characters, it's still a cop-out. Make no mistake about it. It's a 100% lazy cop-out. But it does present some interesting narrative storytelling possibilities. Like Gamora, we see in Endgame going, this is the guy? Like looking at Star-Lord, and Nebula's great line, it was either him or a tree, which was a wonderful line. But to see that kind of explored, obviously Guardians 3 is going about them searching for Gamora now, so obviously that's there. But I think it does open some interesting possibilities. It does. Still a complete cop-out, but it does open a lot of interesting possibilities. All right, good observation. What's next?
This one's for Rob, but maybe you know. Matthew Fisher, Rob, now that the spoiler ban has lifted, when will Hot Toys announce the additional accessories that come with the new Captain America figure?
Oh, unfortunately, I don't know the answer to that, and unfortunately, Rob's not here, but do they not all just come with them? Usually, the Hot Toys come with, in the box, like tons of accessories. Are they going to sell them separately? That's stupid. If that's true, that's lame. I hope they include them all. All right, what's next?
Miaz, will Star Wars, the Old Republic movie happen now?
I don't know. Look, we heard Kathleen Kennedy say they are looking at Old Republic stuff. So that's a possibility. There's some theories going around that the Benioff and Weiss stories may be in the Old Republic. There's some theories that Rian Johnson's new stories may happen in the Old Republic. We're way too soon right now to give a definitive on any of that, but I'll say this. As a fan, I think one of those two trilogies will be set in the Old Republic. They're not going to be the story of the Old Republic video game, but I do believe that one of the two trilogies will be set in the time frame, the Star Wars time frame of the Old Republic. Don't know that for sure, but that's what I think the direction they're heading is. All right, what's next?
Ben Rainier, was Tony the Uncle Ben of the MCU?
I don't know. I could see that popping up, but I don't see it that way personally. So I'll go and say no, but I can see the connections there, but I'll say no personally. All right, what's next?
Jeffrey Holly, if they don't bring Luke back to life in episode 9, do you think that will end up a disappointment to the fans and tarnish the legacy of Star Wars?
Oh, fuck no. No. I mean, look, the whole notion of if the movies don't do what we want them to do, no, the movies shouldn't do what we want them to do. The movies should do what is best for the movie. Look, I was more than anybody else in the world. None of you out there who wanted to see Luke pull out a lightsaber and go to town on some fools in episode 8 more than I did. None of y'all did. You guys saw me saying, I will stand up on my chair, I'll defecate and piss all over everybody. If Luke Skywalker in Star Wars The Last Jedi comes out, if legions of First Order stormtroopers show up to where he is and he pulls out a lightsaber and starts wrecking shop, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. Nobody wanted that more than me. But I don't want filmmakers to do what I want them to do. I want them to do what they believe is the best story. And I'll tell you what, I ended up, many things about The Last Jedi I didn't like, but I loved what they did with the Luke character. I thought it was one of the most narratively interesting things Star Wars has ever done. Now, that's just me. Other people may disagree. That's totally cool. We're still all friends. But I love what they did with the Luke character. Didn't love everything they did in that movie, but I love what they did with the Luke character. Now, would I like to see Luke come back? Sure. Yeah. I'll be there with my little flag and adult diapers and whatever else that I need to have. I'm totally down for it. But I don't want them to do what I want them to do. I want them to do what they think is best. That's how you make movies. You don't make movies by popular consensus. That's how you make garbage. That's why most video game movies suck, I think. Anyway, so no, I don't believe, Jeffrey, that there's one thing that they need to do, and if they don't do that one thing, it tarnishes. Nah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Would I like to see it? Oh, I'm with you, brother. I am with you on that. I'd love to see that. But quite oftentimes, look, there's a lot of things in Endgame. There were a couple of things in Endgame, I should say, that I didn't want to see. But they did it. And I went, ooh, that was great. There's a couple things I really wanted to see that weren't in Endgame. And there was like, oh, but that really worked out, even though it wasn't, what I kind of wanted to see in there. That's the thing about movies, man. So no, I don't think it all depends on that one thing. All right, what's next?
Kylo Ren and Stimpy, I gave an obviously fake spoiler for Endgame at work, and a coworker got upset. I said that Ronald McDonald shows up and calls Thanos Grimace.
Here's the thing. When it comes, I get it. That is an obvious joke. But when it comes to spoilers, a lot of people won't find that funny. Even joking about something that could be a spoiler, it upsets some people. And I used to do it too. I still might actually do it from time, but we shouldn't. Honestly, when it comes to big movies like the newest Star Wars, the newest Marvel, or the newest Bond, or the newest DCEU film, whatever, we probably shouldn't even joke about spoilers. Just because people do get really upset, and understandably so to a degree. But you're right, that was an obvious joke. All right, what's next?
Dan M. Endgame talk. Did they bring back Vision? I certainly didn't catch him. I wonder how they're going to do the WandaVision show, as it could be set in the 50s.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about that, but remember, in Infinity War, Vision didn't get dusted. Mm-hmm. They brought back all the dusted. They didn't bring back everybody who's ever died ever. They brought back the dusted. Vision was not dusted. He died twice in ways other than dusting. Once Wanda killed him, and once Thanos killed him. But he was dead before the dusting ever happened. So how they're going to do this? Look, what I'm guessing is, unfortunately now in the MCU, they have a practical working time machine, which is stupid as hell, but whatever. So I'm going to guess that maybe Wanda goes back in time, picks up Vision, they go further. I don't know. There's lots of stupid, lame ways they could do it, but they'll figure out something. And I trust Kevin Feige. I trust they'll come up with something good. But he didn't come back because he wasn't dusted. All right, what's next?
I'm upset. No trailer for Morbius yet. Should we be worried?
I know, it's like, seriously, wait a minute. Guys, if a movie isn't within 3 months, don't worry if there's a trailer or not. Once we get inside 3 months and there's no trailer, then we can start scratching our heads a little bit. But honestly, and obviously you're joking about the Morbius thing, but seriously, if we're still outside of 3 months to when a movie comes out and we don't have a trailer yet, it's not time to worry. It's totally fine. Once we get inside 3 months, then let's start raising the questions. All right, what's next?
Isaac Beepy, spoiler, coffee cup ends up on the Iron Throne.
I mean, that would, by the way, we talked about it on yesterday's John Campea Show in the movie news feed, but HBO's response to that coffee cup debacle was great. And fact checker Jonathan talked about it in the movie news feed, but their response was, the coffee cup in the scene was a mistake. Daenerys actually ordered an herbal tea. It was the perfect response. It was a great response to an obvious mistake, and that was great. All right, what's next?
Grandmaster Cameron got 1 year more to make 3D without glasses.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. That would be the thing. So maybe this is them buying him one more year to get the technology right to have 3D less, or to have glasses less 3D. I'm not, by the way, I'm saying that as if that's what he's working on. That's not true. I mean, maybe he is and we don't know, but that is the one thing, that is the one revolution to 3D stuff that would actually get me interested. All right, what's next?
Adam Douglas. I think the new Avatar schedule shows how brilliant Iger really is. Before Disney, it was 2020, 2021, and then wait 3 years to 2024 and 2025. Now it's every 2 years, and Disney will own December with Star Wars for 7 years.
I still don't... Look, this notion that only this date can a movie make money, I think is ludicrous. Is it a ripe date? Sure. That's why for a decade or more, like movies have, like Christmas Day, oddly enough, is the number one movie going day of the year. More people go to the movies on Christmas Day than any other day of the year. Notwithstanding the opening day of Avengers Endgame or something like that, but just all the things being equal, Christmas Day is the day more people go to the movies. So that's been a ripe time for a long time. Pardon me. And so movies climb to get on there, but I just don't know if this was, look, they're going to make money. The Star Wars movies, the Avatar movies, they're all going to make big money. My thought, though, is that it's a misnomer to think that's the only place they can make money, and therefore, and needing to, have a 3-year wait for another Star Wars movie and then only have a Star Wars movie every other year, I think is an inappropriate and disproportionate response to that whole notion. You can make money at other times during the year. Avengers Endgame is about to become the biggest movie of all time in April. So I get it. All other things being equal, sure, drop it in December. But things aren't all equal. Now we got to wait till 2027 for that. We got to wait 3 years for the first Star Wars movie to come out. And we got to wait. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a proportional response. But Iger's a genius. Disney is what it is because of Bob Iger. I will not doubt Bob Iger. If that's the way he's going to do it, I'll mention that I don't think it's a good idea, but then I'm just going to go along with it because he's Bob Iger, so I'll take him at face value on that. All right, what's next?
Kylo Ren and Stimpy, Rise of the Skywalker is just going to be a 3-hour film showing Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker riding an elevator on the Death Star.
And I'd still go see it twice. I'd still go see it twice. It could be 3 hours of just Luke on elevators and walking up and down corridors looking for something, and I would totally be down for it. All right, what's next?
I'm upset. More likely to happen, Black Adam or The Trench?
Ooh. Wow. Black Adam. I mean, for those of you who saw Shazam, and not everybody did, which is a shame because Shazam is wonderful, but they teased The Rock as Black Adam in Shazam. And so I think that is probably, now that Shazam ended up being profitable and the critics loved it and the audiences that saw it liked it, I think it's a pretty good chance we're going to get that Black Adam movie finally, like 17 years after they announced The Rock was going to play Black Adam. So I think that one is more likely. I don't think The Trench is impossible. I think The Trench may very well happen, but I give a bigger chance to Black Adam. All right, what's next?
Kylo Ren and Stimpy, WandaVision is really an In Living Color spinoff starring Jamie Foxx as Wanda going to get prescription glasses.
Somebody's got to make a YouTube video on that now because that would be pretty funny. All right, what's next?
Josh Quick, hey John, are you feeling inevitable today?
I am inevitable. I mean, oh God, that was such a great line. I don't know if I love the second use of the line that Thanos does in the movie, just repeating what he heard himself say in a pre-recorded message, but it set up what they wanted Tony then to say, so one thing had to lead to the other, but yes, I am inevitable. The original line is just, and it's such a Thanos thing to say, too. I just really dug it. All right, what's next?
I didn't love what Tony said. I don't know if other people did. I mean, like, it was like a long pause, and then he's like, and I am Iron Man.
You know,
I was like, come on, you can't come up with someone else? I don't know.
It's hilarious that you bring that up, because yesterday, I said the exact same thing in one of my companion videos yesterday. I said, because they were mentioning it was part of the reshoots that Robert Downey Jr. had the idea that he should say that line, and they said it, and people said, that's the epic line, and it certainly did get a big reaction out of the audience, but I will admit, he could have had better final words.
Yeah, it was like a build up to it was a little flat for me. It was like a build up, and then he's like, and I am Iron Man. And I was like, Well, yeah, okay. But.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's a cool callback to the ending of the first Iron Man movie. I am Iron Man. I mean, it's a cool callback to that. I don't know. It felt out of character for me. But look, it's a fan service thing, right? Narratively, did it really make sense that that's what he says? No. But did it give a pop to the audience? It did give a pop to the audience. It was a cool thing to say. It was a fan service moment, so I get it. But I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I didn't think it was the best thing.
I gave a groan. I was like,
All right, what's next?
Grandmaster, no trailer for Avatar 2 yet. Should we be worried?
Again, yep. I mean, it's disastrous. It's coming out in 2020. What is it? 2021 now? Where's that damn trailer? All right, what's next?
Grant Blason. Hey, John, before the I Am Iron Man reshoots, according to Russo's, originally it was just Tony Stark smiling silently, and then he does the snap.
I think saying I am Iron Man is better than him just being silent, because this is Tony Stark. He always has something quippy to say back to somebody. And if the two options were have him just stare at Thanos silently and then reveal the glove and then snap, or having him say, I am Iron Man, I'll take him saying, I am Iron Man, because it's Tony Stark. He's going to say something quippy. He's going to say, he never just sits there silently. He's Tony Stark. He's the king of the one-liners. Out of the way, Big Lebowski. He's always got something to say. So if the only two choices were silence or that, well, then I'll take the I am Iron Man line all day. Absolutely. All right, what's next?
Terrell Wise, will Spider-Man make more than Captain Marvel?
Ooh, that's a good question, because where is Captain Marvel, by the way, is still in theaters making money. It's still making money in theaters.
Wow. So
it's already crossed the $1 billion. We're calling it, of course, because Allison Brie, it's $1 billion. It's sitting at $1.12 billion. Now, I've been saying I believe Spider-Man Far From Home can join the $1 billion club, and I believe it can, especially now that they're tying in the marketing with Endgame. Because remember, Ant-Man and the Wasp came out 2 months after Infinity War. But there was no mention of the events of Infinity War in the Ant-Man and the Wasp trailers, because Ant-Man and the Wasp technically takes place right before the events of Infinity War. So there was no mention of it, nothing tied it in, and it did well, made over $600 million, made more money than the first Ant-Man movie did. Spider-Man Far From Home, though, is an incredibly popular character. Everybody adored the first movie. They've loved him in the two Infinity War movies, in Endgame and Infinity War. And now they're tying the trailers directly into Endgame, having Endgame references and showing that this is now the next chapter after it, or almost the prologue, if you will. Somebody actually said this to me. You know how Endgame didn't have any post-credit scene? A bunch of people saying that Far From Home is a 2-hour post-credit scene to Endgame, which that is. But by marketing it that way, I think that only increases its box office potential as well. Look, it's hard to say until we get a little bit closer. My guess is that Spider-Man will make more than Captain Marvel. That's my guess. But I'm not wholly convinced of that. I reserve the right to change my mind as we get closer to Spider-Man, but right now my guess would be that Spider-Man Far From Home makes more than $1.12 billion. So it's my guess. All right, what's next?
Rise. I think people's emotional reactions to the Dusted in Infinity War weren't because they didn't know those characters were coming back. It was empathy for those left behind.
I disagree. Because when I was in the theaters, when Spider-Man started to dust, people were like, no, and tears go. They weren't crying for, oh, poor Tony must feel sad. That's not why they were crying. When the screen came up and Black Panther steps in to help Okoye stand up and he starts to dust, no! Like, you hear the screeches. That was pretty awesome, actually. The screeches through the theaters. It wasn't because of, oh no, poor Okoye. It was, Black Panther just died. That, when Bucky starts to fall to pieces and dust, no, it was for them. Now, and I'm not saying people didn't have that reaction. They did. What I'm saying is that there were people like me and a few other people and a growing number of people that the more and more Marvel does fake deaths, the less and less those scenes have impact on me, because, wow, he's dying. I mean, he'll be back in about 15 minutes, but wow, he's dying. And it's a good scene. But again, what I point out in my companion video was this. When I watch Sons of Anarchy and my favorite character, Opie, dies in Son of Anarchy, that hit me like a stake through the heart because I knew I just lost him. As a fan, I just lost him. He's gone and he ain't coming back. And it's the finality of it that hits you like an emotional ton of bricks. I couldn't feel that the way some other people felt watching Infinity War, because as Spider-Man's dying, it's not like Opie's like, I just lost Opie. No, it's like, oh, Spider-Man's gone, but he will be back very shortly. He'll be back. Oh no, Black Panther died. Well, they always just fake death everybody, so he'll be back. And I already know they just re-signed the director for Black Panther 2, so he'll be back. Oh no, Doctor Strange is dead. Yeah, but they re-signed the director for Doctor Strange 2, so he'll be back. It just takes away that emotional oomph. I really disagree with you. Now, I'm not saying there isn't some empathy that the audience can feel for the survivors. Absolutely. But I disagree that the big reaction at the end of Infinity War was an expression of empathy by the surviving characters. No, it was the audience going, oh, Black Panther just died. That's what it was. And I'm just saying, as Marvel continues to fake death and fake death and fake death and bring everybody back one way or the other, more and more people are going to start losing that impact like me. So it's just something they got to keep an eye on moving forward. All right, what's next?
Miguel Myers. Hey, John, thoughts on There Will Be Blood movie?
Oh, I talk about it all the time. It's brilliant. Daniel Day-Lewis probably, I think there's an argument to be made. I'm not going to say definitively, but I think there is an argument to be made that Daniel Day-Lewis may give the greatest single performance by a lead actor in any movie in history in that movie. I'm hard pressed to come up with a bunch off the top of my head where the lead actor was better in a movie than Daniel Day-Lewis was in There Will Be Blood. And by the way, Paul Dano, it's a shame that we all focus on Daniel Day-Lewis so much, deservedly so, because Paul Dano was so damn good in that movie. But whenever we talk about the movie, we go to Daniel Day-Lewis because it might be the greatest performance of all time. So I love that movie. I think it's good.
Paul was amazing in that. I actually worked for an ABC show with his sister, so I got to meet him like way back when, but he's a phenomenal actor. And
so good.
That movie is incredible. And the score, and I have to rewatch it. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too. All right, what's next?
NTN LV16, over under 50%. Spider-Man Far From Home has a $200 million opening weekend.
Ooh. Oh boy. 200 mil? That's a lot. What was Spider-Man? Let me just see what Spider-Man's opening weekend was, because I know it wasn't. I know it was over 100 million. Oop, I'm looking at the wrong movie. That's Spider-Man Far From Home. Where's Homecoming? There's Homecoming. Okay, so Spider-Man Homecoming made 117 million opening weekend, which is a great opening weekend, but you're talking about it making double. Almost double. I'll take under 50%. I'm not going to say it's like really low. I'm not going to say it's like 10%, but I'll take under 50%. I think it's definitely got a shot. But I'll take the under 50% on that. All right.
Going over.
You're going to go over.
Going over.
I hope you're right. Okay, what's next?
Jeff Crow from the Mysterio topic yesterday. Start good guy becomes bad. If this is the case, do you think they would use him in like Baron Mordo in Doctor Strange from good to bad?
Yeah, we were kind of discussing about what's going on with Mysterio. The widespread theory, of course, is that, he's a bad guy pretending to be good, and Peter will find that out. Then there's a theory about what if he's actually a good guy and he actually is a good guy. And that's the twist. He actually is a good guy because we're all expecting him to turn bad or become bad or reveal that he's already bad. Another option, though, is that he is a good guy like Mordo was in Doctor Strange, who by sets of circumstances by the end turns villainous. So maybe, Mysterio is a good guy at the beginning, but by the end, he's just been jaded by something and now he's gone bad.
Like
so those are our three options. What's that?
It's like Two-Face. Right?
Oh, yes, kind of like that way. So like where he starts off as one becomes the other by the end as a result of something. Mordo becomes a villain by the end of Doctor Strange because of the way that the sorcerers are flagrantly breaking the rules. And that turns him. We've seen that happen in other places as well. So 3 options. He's a bad guy pretending to be good, and then they find him out. he is a good guy that we all think is going to turn bad, but he's actually good, or he's a good guy that turns bad at the end. Those are the three primary things. And I think I don't know which ones it's going to be. I think it can be any one of the three. I really do. All right, what's next?
Ismail Edu, there are no men like me. There are always men like you. Underrated moment.
Might be a top 3 best line in the history of the MCU. You know, as Loki is there, and I can't remember what country they were in. Maybe it was Germany, maybe it was somewhere else. But Loki's standing over the crowd and saying, everybody kneel. And this one old guy doesn't kneel. And he goes, there's always been I don't kneel to men like you. And Loki says, there is no men like me. And the old guy looks at him defiantly and says, there are always men like you. It is one of the best lines ever in the history of the MCU. It was really, and I remember, I'm getting chills. I'm getting hair standing up on my arm right now, thinking about that line. The way he looked at him and said, there are always men like you, defiantly staying there, knowing he's going to get smoked for doing it, but he stands there as an act of defiance. It was a brilliant moment, and I'm really glad you're recognizing that and brought that up, Ismail. Thank you so much for that. All right, what's next?
Rise, this is continued. Those characters' emotions are real in the moment, even if you know it'll all work out in the end. So I think an emotional reaction isn't unwarranted.
Oh, I don't think it's unwarranted either. Not at all. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm just saying that because of the fake deaths, it's left me in a spot where they don't deserve me to feel emotion at it. It's just that the effect has been the practical applications that even if I wanted to feel more emotion, I can't, because I just know that they're not really dying. They're not really gone. They're not really dead. And even if they are really dead, they're going to be made undead one way or the other at some point. And it's just, again, it's the difference between when I watch a Game of Thrones, unless it's Jon Snow, who's brought back by the Lord of Light, or if it's a Sopranos, or if it's a Sons of Anarchy, or if it's a Spartacus, or if it's something like that. I feel it more when those characters die because I know they're gone. And I have now, just as a audience member, I have suffered that loss because they're gone and they're not coming back. With the MC, it's different. They can kill them off 1,000 times. Doesn't matter. I just believe they're coming back. And so it just takes the edge off. It's not a matter of the emotional reaction not being warranted. Not at all. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that the practical applications, that the emotional impact has become diminished for me. And that's not by choice. And that's not by it being warranted or not. It's just, that's what the consequence of that is. Anyway, that's just me. All right, what's next?
Adrian Streetfort, how do you think mutants will enter the MCU? An adaptation of House of M, or as natives to an Earth in an alternate universe in the multiverse?
That is literally the billion-dollar question. And remember, Kevin Feige wasn't even allowed to start thinking about that until the Fox deal closed. I think that's the billion-dollar question for him, and they've got a long time to think about it. Kevin Feige's already said it's going to be years before we get around to that stuff. How they bring them in, I don't know, because the big problem is, it's not like just some character. They like, here comes Mysterio. Well, where did he come from? It doesn't really matter. You can just pop him up. The thing about the X-Men is that their lore, their mythology is rooted in that mutants have been in the world for decades, and that there's a prejudice against them. Remember, the whole creation of the X-Men was a response and an allegory about racial discrimination and stuff like that in the United States when they created these characters. And they became a living analogy of that. And of course, you had your, Stan Lee has talked about how your Magneto was your Malcolm X character, Charles Xavier was your Martin Luther King. And, so you can't root out all that history. You can't just say all of a sudden now there are mutants in the world. Well, that takes out all the rich mythology about the social prejudices and blah, blah, and the long history. But then we haven't had them around. So how do you do it? House of M is certainly an option. Now that they've done the multiple realities thing, even though that was planned years ago, it does become a convenient tool if they want to use that to do that. But really, how they're going to do it, I have no idea at this point. And that's why Kevin Feige makes the big bucks. He'll figure that out right now. I have no clue. Could be anything. Could be anything. All right, what's next?
Jeff Mullins, over under 50% Arya will die trying to kill Cersei.
I think it's a very valid possibility. I'll take under 50% because I don't think it'll happen, but it's definitely a possibility. What about you, Ash? You're going to take the...
Oh, that's really hard. I would say under. I think under. Did you say under? Or did you say it?
I said under.
Yeah, I think under.
All right, what's next?
Germanian. Just watched all 10 new episodes of Lucifer season 4, and it was epic. So good. I think 10 episode limit made each episode better. I want more.
I want 22 episodes. I want 22. I want the way they've always done them. But you know what? Thank you, Netflix. I'll take what I can get. I haven't seen a single one yet. I'm glad to hear that you liked it, Jury. But I mean, tonight I'll watch episode 1. I'll go say Les Mis. I'll come back, get home around midnight, and then stay up until the John Campea Show and watch all. So tomorrow's John Campea Show, I'm going to be like this because I'm just going to be completely Lucifered. All right, what's next?
Jason Morgan. Humans can't hold Infinity Stones. Hawkeye, how?
Hawkeye didn't hold an Infinity Stone. He held the gauntlet. He didn't put on the gauntlet. And remember, other people could hold. Remember when in Guardians of the Galaxy, when the Power Stone was in its container, people could hold the container. Remember?
But didn't he hold the Soul Stone?
Who? Hawkeye?
Didn't, right?
Oh, yeah. Hawkeye woke up
with the Soul
holding
Stone
Soul Stone.
in his hand.
True, he holding it in his hand, but he was granted to him by the Soul Stone, and it's not the Power Stone. So that's a good question. But I guess that just is kind of...
plot hole?
I don't know if it's a plot hole. It might just be an expression of how the different stones function. Like, I don't think he can wield the Soul Stone, but since the Soul Stone is different from the Power Stone, where, I mean, it's the Power Stone. You hold it in your hand, you're going to explode. But I remember somebody else asked me, why like, Hulk could barely hold the gauntlet. How could Hawkeye? Well, remember, Hawkeye didn't put on the gauntlet. He just carried the gauntlet. Mm-hmm. Just like, the Power Stone could be carried around by an average person when it's in its container. But the Soul Stone, I guess it just works differently. I guess the Soul Stone just works differently. It's a really good point. That's a great thing to bring up, man. All right, what's next?
Ahmad, I've been watching since the AMC days, but recently started sending in some super chats.
Nice.
Ramadan just started, and you're a huge help in getting through the hungry, long days, and I appreciate that a lot.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you could be here. I'm so grateful that we could help you get through Ramadan at the same time. So thanks for being here, man, and thanks for watching ever since the AMC days. You've been around for a while, man, so I appreciate that, and I hope you get through it okay. All right, what's next?
Mike Carlos, great to know that the sudden departure doesn't mean probably that you guys weren't okay.
Oh, but that's probably a reference to yesterday when we didn't come back after the movie news feed. Nope, we're back. It was just a system freeze, and apparently we fixed it. So, okay. So all's good, hopefully. All right, what's next?
C Stacks, better superhero time travel movie, Endgame or X-Men Days of Future Past?
Look, this isn't going to be popular because right now, the only thing you're supposed to say is that Endgame is the greatest thing ever. I really enjoyed Endgame. It's my number 5 all-time MCU film. That's saying a lot considering how many of the 22 MCU films are great. I'm going to take Days of Future Past. You guys have known that Days of Future, I like it more than most people. But Days of Future Past holds a very solid spot in my top 10 all-time comic book movies in general. Not just MCU, but comic book movies in general. I think their use of time travel was better. I think overall the movie is better. I mean, nothing tops that last hour of Endgame. I mean, that last hour of Endgame is the greatest hour in the history of comic book movies. I mean, I can just go in and watch that all day, every day. But I know it's going to be the unpopular thing to say. That's fine. I'm not just going to sit here and say what I think is going to be cool and popular and what I think people want to hear. Honestly, I think Days of Future Past is a better movie. But who knows? Maybe after I see Endgame a few more times, maybe I'll change my mind. But right now, that's just because I think Days of Future Past is so great. I know a lot of people don't have it ranked as high as I do. That's fine. But I'm not going to lie here just to look cool. I really do think Days of Future Past is probably a better movie to me right now. But then again, it's a top 10 all-time comic book movie to me, so that's saying something. All right, what's next?
Wesley Cunningham, over under 18% that within, let's say, 5 years, Disney brokers or at least starts brokering a Universal deal for Hulk, whether buying rights back unlikely after huge Fox deal, a Sony Spider-Man like deal, or just something?
The problem here is that there's no deal to be brokered. The situation is set in stone. Universal has the rights to distribute any Hulk property that gets made. That's it. They've got the rights, period. Disney has the rights to produce any Hulk material that they want, but if they do so, they have to let Universal become the distributor, and Disney does not want to let Universal or anybody distribute more stuff. They've already had to do that with Sony because Sony was holding all the cards. Sony had the production rights and the distribution rights. They held all the cards. So if they wanted Spider-Man, they had to make a deal. The battle lines have been drawn between Disney and Universal. There's only one thing that's going to change it, is that one of them changes their minds. There's nothing else to happen here. One of them has to come off their position. Either Universal has to say, okay, fine, we'll sell back the rights, but right now they're not interested in selling back the rights. Or Disney has to say, fine, we'll make a Hulk movie and you get to distribute it. But Disney said they're drawing a line in the sand. They're not going to do that. So I'm going to take under 18%. And right now, I don't see that Disney's in a position that they have to make a Hulk movie. See, that's the thing. Universal's in a position where they don't have to give up the rights, and Disney's in a position where, we don't need to make a Hulk movie if we don't want to. So I don't know, man. I think it's a bad situation right now where I have to see if something gets, but I'm unfortunately going to take the under on that. I'm unfortunately taking the under. All right, what's next?
That scene with Paul Rudd and him with the autographs and the kids, that was so good.
Oh my, it's so uncomfortable, but so funny.
Yeah, those kids were so natural.
They were great.
They were great. Brandon Blake, I love the Field of Dreams scene in Endgame with Tony where a son gets to say the things to his father that he didn't get a chance to say in life. Thoughts?
I'm not going to lie to you. It was a good scene that the movie didn't have to have. It was one of those scenes where, we often hear directors talk about, especially in directors' commentaries, that, I took that scene out, talking about some random scene, because the scene was good. It was a good scene. But the movie didn't need the scene. And so, for the sake of the movie, we took it out. Even though it was a great scene, we took it out because the movie didn't need it. Narratively speaking, that the movie didn't need that. The movie didn't need Tony talking with the younger version of his dad. It didn't need it. Was it a good scene? Yep. It was a good scene. I liked it. It was a good scene. Did it need to be in the movie for anything else in the movie to work? Nope. They really could have taken the scalpel to it, saved about 6 or 7 minutes out of the movie, and had a better flow and pace to it. But it's a good scene. So I don't know. I don't know if the Russo brothers had come to me and said, John, we've got the scene, watch it. And I watched the movie and I watched the scene. Now, we know the movie doesn't need to have this scene, but we really like the scene. Do you think we should leave it in or take it out? I honestly don't know what I would have said, because it is a good scene. There's a nice little heartfelt moment to it. But at the same time, there's no denying the rest of the movie didn't need it to be there. Like, if you all of a sudden watched a cut of that movie and that scene was taken out, nothing else in the movie was reliant upon that scene happening. So at the bottom, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't think there was a wrong answer. It's such a good scene, it's not wrong to leave it in. But the movie didn't need it, so it wouldn't have been wrong to take it out. So I'm kind of middle of the road on it, to be honest with you. All right, what's next?
The Gixter 73. If Mysterio is a villain in Far From Home, that will make to that know his secret identity. Do you think that they're doing this for another movie down the road?
Oh, I don't know. I think that's just coincidental. I really don't think there's any kind of a bigger picture or an overriding theme there. Because, yes, Vulture knows who he is. By the way, I wonder if Vulture was dusted or not. That'll be interesting to see. Is he 5 years older now, or is he the same age he was in when Infinity War happened because of the dusting? Don't know. We'll have to wait and find out. But I don't think Gixer. I don't think that they're setting up any kind of long-term thing based on that. But we'll have to see kind of what their thoughts are. All right, guys, listen. That's all of our time for today. For everybody else who sent in super chats, from David Goldstein, Tristan, Colin, all the way down, don't worry. I'm going to do a companion video today, and we will get to your questions that you sent in a video today. However, I did notice that another Skywalker sent in a $100 super chat. So he just wrote in and said, keep up the good work. I want to make sure I get to that. Man, it's always so nice when somebody just wants to contribute.
Amazing.
And just to say something nice. Thank you, man. That is really classy of you, another Skywalker. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and the shows that we do here. And thank you to all of you guys who sent in questions today, because you give us great stuff to talk about and you support the channel as well. So deep gratitude to all of you for that. And again, another Skywalker. Man, thank you so much for that. That was really generous, dude. All right, guys, that will do it for our show for today. Thanks so much for being here. I, of course, want to thank Ashley Whalen, who's here today. Ashley, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on my Twitter at AshAttack1, or my Instagram is Ashley Whalen2. 2 Y's in my first name.
And you guys, of course, can just follow me on social media at John Campea. Don't forget, guys, later today, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're going to be doing a live stream, me counting down the 22 films of the MCU. We're going to have a little bit of open discussion about that as well. Feel free to come on back and join us for that, or just watch it afterwards. Whenever is good for you is good for me. All right, guys, that will do it for now. Thanks a lot for being here. My name is John Campea, and until our next video, bye-bye.